Let's now take you to the Gallagher Convention Centre in Midrand, where the National Water and Sanitation Indaba is underway. It is the second day of the conference where government leaders and experts will present their findings following meetings yesterday over raw provisions and also water security. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan is now joining us live. Karinda, very good morning to you. Just quickly recap to us what the President had to say yesterday and also that tongue lashing, I guess, that the municipalities got from the Minister of Water and Sanitation.
Very much so. Tongue lashing, as you described it, from the side of the minister, from the side of the president as well, to municipalities for not spending their grant money with regards to investing in infrastructure, maintaining infrastructure, returning this grant money back to National Treasury despite having water provision issues on the ground level and citizens going without water, sometimes for weeks at a time. Residents across Gauteng, residents across the country actually know the situation all too well. The president also said that the country as a whole loses a cumulative water supply of 54%, or loses 54% from its cumulative water supply through water leaks. But on the other side of this, Aldrin, we know that there are many rural communities that don't have access to water at all because there's no infrastructure in these areas. Now, the president said that next year they'll be launching the National Agency for Infrastructure Reform. Essentially, this is an agency that will prioritize water infrastructure specifically. And this is to ensure that all tiers of government can come together to ensure that they build infrastructure where water infrastructure is needed. But they also did mention, and actually yesterday in our interview with the minister, spoke about a public-private sector partnership because ultimately funds are lacking, and to invest in water infrastructure is critical, and that is why there are these exhibitions at the Water Indaba. This is a desalination solar panel from the GM Water Management Solution. So we're going to discuss what this does, but essentially it's able to take any type of water and clean this water, deliver it to citizens. But I think the best person to speak about this is the CEO of the company, Mr. Martin Paulson. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Let's talk about what you are able to do to deliver water.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. We have two specific technologies. You just mentioned the one which is the desalination solar panel. This panel can purify any water, if it's seawater, boil water, any contaminated water, this particular panel can purify. It is absolutely great for rural communities where there's contaminated rivers, contaminated dams, or any form of other contaminated water. This panel can basically purify that water to potable drinking water.
And let's talk about delivering water to rural communities. We know that infrastructure is lacking. So tell me about the purification process, the danger in residents collecting groundwater, even drain water, trying to clean it, and the dangers therein.
Well, obviously with contaminated water in those communities, you have your E. coli and other bacteria in there. And what this type of technology allows us, because what this technology basically does is once we pour the water over the panel, it actually boils your water to a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. So think of a kettle where you boil it and that steam which creates your vapor. So what you basically drink is your vapor, which is basically the still water, which is one of the best qualities of water that you can get. Yeah.
So, let's come a bit away from this, and I'd just like to speak to you in terms of being an expert in this area. Let's talk about water resilience and the issues we see as a country, because we are a water scarce country.
Yeah. So as a company, so when we go in the community or on a site, we will look at what we'll design as we call a water resilience program or report. We'll look at all water sources in those communities and say if it's a bowl, if it's a river, if it's a little stream that's running, how do we combine that water with existing infrastructure, and what technology we can use to bring that quality water to those communities. And in terms of the technology that we need to have technology that we can say we can decentralize your infrastructure where bulk water supplies will never reach those communities. And this type of technology leans itself to that, where we can decentralize bulk infrastructure and do deliver a proper and potable water to those communities.
Okay, Mr. Paulson, thank you for your time. I know you also you collect your own water and you clean it, so maybe we can also just have a look at that process too. But while we do and continue there, Aldrin, I also want to tell you about some of what the president has said, because some of the issues here that's being discussed in terms of bulk water supply. the president did say that South Africa is a water-scarce country, and there's research to show that by 2050 there will be water challenges in sub-Saharan Africa, with South Africa possibly facing the realities of this on the ground. And that is why there's discussion about securing additional bulk water. We know this is being done by the Lesotho Highlands project that has now continued after being postponed for some time. But essentially, where bulk water isn't able to be collected, sent to reservoirs, the presidency, the department is looking for solutions like this. And maybe I can also just take a walk around and just give you a glimpse of some of the other programs too, that will give you a look in the next hour. There's sanitation solutions. The president did say, and this conference is also about sanitation, he did speak about the issue of pit latrines. Now, pit latrines, we know, is something that still exists in many schools, especially in rural communities, and there has been instances where children have fallen into these pit latrines, instances where children have died because of this. And the president did call for an immediate end to this. But it's been a slow progress, and that is why there's a call again for this public-private sector partnership that will be contested, but over the next few hours we'll just give you a sense of what there is to offer here and how this investment can be done to ensure ultimately that there is water security in terms of water provision across the country. So stay with me, I'll give you another update in the next hour.
Thank you so much. Karinda Jagmohan there joining us from the Gallagher Convention Centre in Midrand.